Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have number 1, and so A is determine the allele arrangement in the heterozygous parent. So to do that, you just take the largest numbers of the offspring. So the largest ones were 76 and 69, which were the genotype was A RG plus MG over A plus RG and then MG plus. And then B, determine the gene order of these 3 linked genes. So to do that, you had the allele arrangement of the heterozygous parent, and then you made sure that each gene was in the middle, and then you switch them. What's that called?
Crossover. Double crossover.
Double crossover. And then you look at the 2 lowest ones, and the one that matches the 2 lowest ones is like the correct order. And so that would be MG A RG plus over MG plus A plus and RG. Okay, and then C, so then you construct a linkage map. Okay, so to do that, you take this. Oh yeah, okay, so you take the one in the correct order, and then you do a single crossover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look and see which one matches those. You take the numbers, and then you add them with the lowest numbers.
So you take your single crossovers and your double crossover numbers and add them together.
Yeah, and then you divide that by the total, and then that'll be the distance. And then you do the same thing to find the distance between the next ones. So the answer for that would be MG over MG plus, and then 13 MU. So that would be the distance, and then A plus, and then 17.48 MU. That's the distance, and then RG over RG plus. And then to get the interference, you take 33 over 100, and you multiply that by 10.
Oh, you're on the wrong problem.
Oh, I'm on the wrong problem. My bad. So you take divide by 100 times 17.48 divided by 100, and then you'll get 0.022 whatever. And then you multiply that by the total, and then you take the 1 minus the total, the lowest amount of offspring, and then you divide that by the answer you got previously, and then you should get 57.6%. Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. So based on what Sophia has said, I'll just read off of my and there's principles. So for A, the gene arrangement is S and then SC plus, then V over S plus, SC and V plus. The gene order for these 3 linked genes is pretty much the same as how we arranged it initially. SC plus, V and S plus over S plus, SC V plus. Just like Sophia already explained, the distance between these genes on the same chromosome are S over S plus, and there's 10 math units between that and SC over SC plus. And there's 33 math units between that one and V over V plus. And the interference value is 7.3%.
All right, then I have number 3. And the tricky part with this one is the double crossovers are both 0, and they didn't put that on your chart. So it ended up being glassy eyes one of the phenotypes of one of the double crossovers, and that's 0. And the other one was coal-colored bodies and striped thoraxes, so that was also a 0. And then determine the allele arrangement or the gene arrangement. You need to take the two, kind of the same thing as all the other ones. You take the ones with the 2 highest numbers, and you end up with G plus C and S plus, and G and C plus and S. And so then once you have that, to determine the gene order, again, you took the allele arrangement and you had the C in the middle, then you had the G in the middle, and then you had an S in the middle to come out with the three different arrangements that it could be. And you have your 2 double crossover phenotypes. And when you do a crossover with those first 3, you need to determine which one makes comes up with the 2 double crossovers. And in that case, the gene order would be G plus S plus C and GSC plus. So then number C is create a linkage map, and you need to come up with your map units. So you take the double cross and numbers and the single cross numbers. So you get for the first one single cross between G and S, you end up with your single cross of G plus S and C plus, and then G, S plus, and C, which comes out to be the numbers 11 and 8. So you add 11 and 8 and divide by 1,000 multiplied by 100 and get 1.9 map units. And again, for the second map unit between S and C, you have G plus, S plus, and C plus, and then G, S, and C. And you end up with the numbers for those phenotypes of 27 and 29. And then you do the same math and come up with 5.6 MU. So the linkage map would be between G plus, and S plus is 1.9 map units. Then between S and S plus and C plus is 5.6 map units. Then the interference value, again, the same math. You take those map units, divide them by 100 and multiply them together. Then multiply that by that number that you got by, which is 1,000. And then you do the inferences 1 minus 0 over 1.1, which is that number multiplied by 1,000. You get 1 or 100% as your interference value.
All right, so for number 4, it's very similar to the first 3. So first we're going to find the allele arrangement. The allele arrangement for this one was AN positive BRF over AN BR positive F positive. And then for B, we have to decide the I got AN positive BF over or BR then over AN positive. And then for the linkage map, AN positive to or AN to F is 19 map units. And then F to BR is 5.1 map units. And then for our interference value, after doing the math that's been previously explained, you get 0.484 or 48.4%.
Cool. That leaves me with my section, number 5. This was a little bit more difficult problem, especially this last one. I'll go through that. The part A just pretty much is asking us to take the 2 sides and just do an independent assortment and see what kind of alleles are coming out of that. And that's going to be 25% of A, capital A, capital B, 25% capital A, lowercase b, 25% lowercase a, capital B, and recessive 25%. And the next part B asks us what to do if the genes are linked. And if the genes are linked, you'll only end up with 2 different genotypes because they're linked. And so you end up with pretty much homozygous dominant and homozygous recessive. Part C, it says, again, A is linked to B and B and lowercase a is linked to lowercase b. What phenotypes of the damage produced in the cell if crossing over occurs between the two? And so if there's crossing over that occurs, you're going to end up with the same phenotypes you had in the independent assortment on top. And then part D is where it gets kind of tricky and it's kind of fun. Suppose the distance between A and B alleles is 7.8 m-units. What is the frequency of damage produced in the cell in part C? This is the difficult part because you have to do it backwards. And so I set up this nice little equation for us to look at. And where X is the recumbent offspring. The recumbent offspring are the ones that are going to be the least prevalent, which are going to be the two middle ones. Capital A, lowercase b, lowercase a, capital B. They're both going to have, and they're going to come with a total number of 7.8% of recumbent offspring. And that's going to be divided two ways for each one of the genotypes, either with 3.9% of one and 3.9% of the other, and then define the the rest of the progeny, which are going to be genotypes. This would be lowercase a. Lowercase a. Anyway, this should be homozygous recessive and homozygous dominant. And that experiment should take 7.8, divide or subtract 100. You're going to end up with 92.1 divided by 2, 46.1% for each one of those genotypes. So that's kind of our presentation on this. I hope it makes sense. And thanks so much.